What's up, my good people? I'm back. Yes, this is B.O.C. Dog Talk with Mr. Bingo. Browns of Columbus. Yes, thank you for coming. We got some things we need to talk about. There's some good news coming out of Cleveland. Some good news. They talked to Deshaun Watson and a couple other players, and the vibe that I'm getting, ah, we'll discuss it. We will discuss it. We will. Thank you for coming, joining in, listening, getting your Browns fix here at Dog Talk. If you don't have a place this Saturday to watch the game, you can come to our home club, the Savoy Club at 1904 Lake Club Drive. That's on the east side of Columbus. Saturday, August 26th. Game starts at 1 o'clock. It'd be the Browns versus the Chargers. So if me personally, I like to watch the game at home because I like to watch it from a different aspect. Um, when I want to be a fan, then I also go up to the Savoy Club and fellowship with my other Browns backers, the family at Browns of Columbus. So you're more than welcome to come up there, join in. Um, Free. We got the game on 3 or 4 TVs, surround sound. You can have a drink, order some food. I know they have chicken, fries, several different sandwiches. The environment is all grown, and you'll have a great time. A great time. Please believe me. I already got 2 or 3 people that reached out to me and asked me about where we fellowship at, where we meet at, and I told them it was the Savoy Club. So they're looking to come up there, and I can pretty much guarantee once they come up there and hang out with us, that they're going to join because they're like-minded, like energy people. So if you don't have a place to watch the game or you just want to watch the game among other Brown fans, come up to the Savoy Club Saturday at 1 o'clock. Make sure you hit the subscribe, like, and also tell a friend. Browns fan. You Yeah, let me leave it like that. Browns fan. Other people are more than welcome to listen in. Um, but this is primarily we just talk about the Browns here. I give my opinion. I run down some news that's out there. I try to stay away from the news that the national media are talking about because they tend to run the same stories over and over or um, talk about the same topics. I want to try to dig into other stories that are out there about the Browns, not the ones that they're running. Um, Also, don't forget that Browns of Columbus is also having a bus trip going out to the Browns and San Francisco game. There's $65 for members, $70 for non-members. Payment is due no later than September the 30th, and it's transportation only. Meaning, so if you want to go to the game, find your ticket. You got a way down there and a way back. You can go enjoy the game, or you can stay out there with B.O.C. and tailgate, and they'll be watching the game out there um, at the tailgate facility. You know what I mean? So there's so much going on uh, with this family. We steady growing. Last time I checked or I talked to Dwayne, we're upwards of 150 members, and that's good for a club that's or a backers club that's been in existence since 2022. So that speaks volume, of the members, the leadership, and the Browns fans. So make sure you reach out to brownsofcolumbus at gmail.com if you want to book a seat to go to the Browns and San Francisco game. Um, like I said, $65 for members, $70 for non-members. Man, they talked to well, let me put it like this. Uh Delpit went down today. They was doing team drills and he had ran into receiver. Was it Wayne's? Excuse me. And he walked off on his own, but he seemed to be, a little nicked up. Later on, we found out that it was his arm is sore, which is good because if it was in the shoulder area, it'd be a little bit more time for him to recover. But if it's just the arm, he can kind of play with it depending on how much pain it is. But I'm pretty sure they probably have him sit out because I haven't really seen Delpit play in any of the preseason games. But we'll talk about that, moving forward. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that the Browns are looking good um, this week in training camp, which is good because the one thing that we normally don't hear is good news coming out of Cleveland during the preseason. Last year was a whole bunch of noise, going on. This year, it seems to be business as usual. So, moving forward, or in this episode, we'll be talking about Deshaun Watson. Give y'all some of my responses and feedback on the haters, the talking heads about Deshaun. We'll talk about the last preseason game against the Eagles. The good, the bad. Who did enough to actually make the team? There's a couple names being thrown out there, a couple names that I've seen that shine, and we'll talk about that. Um, we'll also touch on next preseason game against the Chiefs, where the Chiefs going to be playing some of their starters, the Browns going to be playing their starters. I still think they're going to hold out Nick Chubb or Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, players like that. I'll give you my thoughts on that as well because it seems, well, we'll talk about that. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and tell someone because it's man, I'm telling you, it's special to be a Browns fan. It's a storied franchise, but we really haven't had much in the past to really share about, hang our hat about. But the energy is starting to really change. One, coach has been there 3-4 years now. Cleveland's been known to let coaches go every 2-3 years tops, depending on the record. But this organization now has kept the coach, the GM, and they seem to be getting it together. I'm telling you, if y'all don't understand what AB is putting together, whoa. Because remember when they signed Deshaun, they said that the Browns was going to be strapped financially because of the contract. Well, AB done went out and restructured not only Deshaun Watson's contract, restructured Myles Garrett, now hurting the Choku. and a couple other players, which is a good sign because it freed up a lot of money moving forward to either sign free agents or make a trade, depending on what they feel they need to get them over the hump. Sound weird to say because it's been, I probably say since the 80s that the Brown has been in a position to where you made that statement that you're in a position to make a trade to get a player that can help you right now to get to or get in and further or deeper in the playoffs. And by freeing up that money, they put themselves or they gave themselves that opportunity or that chance moving forward. Right now, there's no word coming out of who they might be looking at or um, who they might trade for. It could be possibly that they're just freeing up this money for next year. Um, next year, you still have your core players that's going to be in their prime, but moving forward or playing the season, if they feel as though they need like one piece, they can either do it at the trade deadline or next year. So that's a good sign. AB is really doing this thing when it comes to money management and contracts. And not only that, but some of the free agents that he brought in. I mean, think about it. He done stole Amani Cooper from Dallas for little or nothing. Uh, Elijah Moore. So he's bringing in free agents, and they're good talent, but he's not spending a whole bunch of money or unnecessary money to bring them here. Whereas in years past, for a free agent to come here, one, they had the perception that if they went to the Browns, their career was either over with or they came here for their career to die. Now, with the roster that we have, the ownership trusting who he got in place, we have players in the league that want to come to Cleveland, and this is just the start of it. This is a start of it. A lot of it is because of the QB, Deshaun Watson. Let's be honest. They wasn't looking to come here when we had Baker. He didn't have that cachet. He didn't have that that work, that resume. Let me put it that way, that resume. And not only his resume, Deshaun's resume speaks for itself, but in the league, players know who are the ballers. And Deshaun is on that radar as one of the ballers. Um, so we getting a lot of free agents that we wouldn't have normally got or would have considered coming here, via trade or, a free agent, big name free agent wanting to come here. We still haven't signed one of those yet. But I can see in the next 2 years um, that really taking place. Don't know who it is yet. And I'll keep you informed if I hear anything. If we do some research and see where the Browns might be weak at and who might be a free agent, and allow us to, have that conversation on who might, want to come here. Because right now, the Browns are pretty much set at receiver. I'm I never. Well, I ain't gonna say I never. I didn't think they could have ever gotten a better wide receiving group than they had when they had Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, and Donovan Peoples Jones, and the Joku at tight end. That was a nice pass catching group. Problem was quarterback. um, to be honest with you, the quarterback he didn't pan out. Not like a lot of people wanted him to. And we the proof is in the pudding. The reason why I say that same quarterback we drafted number one overall is on his fourth team in less than 2 years, 18 months. So that's a sign that the office one didn't believe, and two decided that they needed a franchise quarterback. I wondered. I wondered, was it a little bit too late? The reason why I say that is because the locker room was divided because a lot of people believed in OBJ, was friends with him, knew his talent, knew he was a baller. And when they made that decision, and they gave OBJ opportunity to go out there and get another job somewhere else. But the fan base was not only the fan base, but the locker room was divided, and it was more towards OBJ. So they had a sour taste in their mouth when they let him go and not the quarterback. But no organization at that point, especially the way the Browns are being perceived right now, would have let the quarterback go at that point, seeing the history of the Browns and the moves that they have made since they came back in 1999. But it was a ripple in the locker room. But this wide receiving core with Amani Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan People Jones. Now you got a more mature Njoku, and you got a quarterback that can get him the ball. Oh, it's gonna be some numbers put up. It's gonna be some numbers put up. And then you drafted a young go getter in Tillman, who uh, loves the high point, the ball. Seen that in preseason. But I'm gonna tell you who became one of my favorites is Austin Watkins Jr. Oh, balled. He balled this preseason. Now, if it was 5 years ago, the the performance that he put on in the preseason would have gotten him probably, I know, definitely on the squad, but it could have got him a starting job on the Browns about 4 or 5 years ago. Remember, because we used to always go in the preseason or right after the draft, and we'd have all these talented undrafted uh, rookies come in, and a lot of them, I say about 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them will make the team. This year, it's hard. They don't went out every year and improved in positions that they felt they was weak. Um, and that's credit to the general manager, the scouting team, and just the fact that you're willing to admit that these aspects or these positions on the team are weak. Let me go ahead and do something about it. Last year, what was our weakness? Defensive line. We got one starter coming back on the defensive line. That's Myles Garrett. The rest of them, AB brought in, got him a running mate. Got some beef. We even drafted Ika, defensive lineman that's going to help to anchor the line. And it's not that the Browns didn't address the defensive line. It was just a couple late round draft picks that really didn't develop or could be considered misses by this new front office. So that right there is a change that is going to help not only the defense but the back end, the cornerbacks and the safeties. When they talked to who was it this week? It was Tannehill, the safety, um, and he was just saying how in the backfield that back there the ball's coming out a lot quicker because the quarterback is getting more pressure on him. See, last year we was in a read react place soft on the back end. This year, defensive coordinator is letting his defensive line just go at it, wreak havoc. And they got 4 starting off, but there's some depth that they also brought in that can put pressure. Let's just say when the second line come in, you really won't be dropping off a great deal as far as skill level. And actually, I can see where Swartz is going to interact or switch pieces. So, say like right now, there's a one line with Miles Garrett, probably got Hurts, Smith. Oh man, that's coming in. Then you're going to run back, and there's going to be a second wave to come in. But as the season go on, whoever steps up, I can see them, putting in different waves to keep the legs fresh, keep them running. Uh, putting pressure on the quarterback. But if they start lacking, then I could see him changing or just going with a 5 or 6 man rotation. But at this time, I think he's gonna go 8 deep and see how that works. So that means the cornerbacks and safety playing man on the back end is more an aggressive style of defense. And it might not sound like a lot to the average fan, but those that played the game, it's a different mindset. When you're a older, um, a veteran team, playing zone can benefit you because you have more experience, more wisdom, um, but it also transposed over to the offense. The offense tend to play the same or have the same energy as the defense if they're playing passive. Well, this defense this year is going to be playing way more aggressive. And I think that too is going to bleed over to the offense where you're going to see the offense playing a lot more aggressive. Just the mindset, just the energy. Go and get it. Let's crash them. You know what I mean? Let's eat. So that's going to be fun, fun, fun to see. It's been a while since we have had a defense that was about that. Say top 5. About I think they could get up to about top 5 in the league. Coming out of New England, remember they was ranting and raving about Miles Garrett. Say, they would take him over one of the bosses or both of the bosses. And to be talked about up in that circle, let me know that his name is being, talked about when it comes to some of the best defensive players in the league. Now, last preseason, no, I'm sorry, last preseason game with the Eagles, you had Dewan Jones had a good game. Muhammad Diabate, linebacker, good game. I mean, he was responsible for a fumble. He punched the ball out on a defensive play. Good play, heady play. He was making tackles all over the field. His name was coming up, you know, all over the place. Then you had, of course, Darian Thompson Robinson, DTR. He didn't get into the end zone, but you could still see his poise as far as a quarterback. We was wondering if he started the game or he was up there with the second string. Would it be a drop off from what he was doing? The past two games. Not really a drop off, but wasn't able to put the ball in the end zone. Was able to move. It wasn't his fault. It was a fumble by the running back on the first drive. And that hindered the Browns from scoring. But it ended up being 18-18. Another person who had a good game was Watkins. Oh man, I believe he went seven receptions for about a buck 40 in receiving and a touchdown. Nice, making the name for himself. Like I said, 5 years ago he would have made the team. He would have been, in the starting line. He would have been one of the top 3 to 4 receivers on the team. But with this group we have now, it's going to be hard. Me personally, I I think he did enough to make the team. Also, Ronnie Hickman, free agent out of Ohio State, safety, um, balling out, balling. So we're going to see how this pans out because we already know Dewan Jones is going to make it. They will start him off at right tackle. Um, this week they gave him some work on the left side, which is good. It's not his natural position. He said, if I believe, he said he hasn't played that since maybe middle school. So it's going to take him a minute to get adjusted because now you're seeing the rush in not really reverse, but coming from a different angle. You're used to him coming off the right side, so blocking him there is kind of mere formality. Now it's just react. You did it so many times. Going to the left, you have to drop your left foot and learn to kick and get in position that way. Um, he could do it. He got the size, got the talent. The difference is his first 2 years, like Jed Wills, moving from the right to the left, since it's not real natural. A lot of times you have to think more than you can react. So that means it's going to take him some time to get acclimated, get comfortable to where his kick, his punch, the angles that he see rushers coming in, uh, to get to where he can react and not think about what he has to do like he would on the right side. So, it might not be this year, but if anything goes down, he has been, getting some time over there. So I don't know if they feel comfortable. They probably still go with Harris, and until they feel that Jones is ready. Diobate, some of the linebackers this at this point are coming off injuries. Awak, um, Taki, remember Phillips went down, so there's another. He's going to be gone for the year, so there's room for you know a linebacker there, and I'm even hearing that he might even be able to crack the start lineup at week. Is it strong? I think strong side linebacker if Taki ain't ready, or middle if Awak is not ready. So it'll be interesting to see. I believe he done did enough to make the starting lineup. No, not starting lineup, but make the squad. I feel at this point, if you try to ease him onto the practice squad, it's going to be somebody out there that's going to pluck him. Someone's going to pluck him. Just like DTR. You can't slide him onto the practice squad. Somebody's gonna get them. They got some tape out there, um, and they play just that good that somebody give them a shot. Just like I believe with Watkins, if he don't make the Brown squad and they try to waive him before putting him on the practice squad, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to give that young man an opportunity. Um, to be real about it. If the Browns were smart, uh, I would keep him. I ain't gonna say he's the finished product. One, he's hungry. Two, he done already showed you when the lights is on, he's gonna play. That's what we say on the field is a baller. The game wasn't too big for him when he had the opportunity. So the Browns, should go ahead and me personally keep him. Sign him. If you try to slide him on there, I believe the young man is gone. If somebody, will give him an opportunity. Now we're getting ready to transfer or move on to another topic that I don't want y'all to think I'm a vent, but it's something I gotta say because I'm pretty much frustrated, tired, sometimes pissed off by this next topic because the talking heads um, is making the Browns pay for their hatred, their biases, and it really don't make no sense. But we're gonna talk about it. So make sure you hit that like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell another friend. Come on here every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Dog Talk with yours truly, Mr. Bingo. Brought to you by B.O.C. Browns of Columbus. Now, this next topic, gotta talk about my man, Deshaun Watson. Why is it so many haters when it comes to Deshaun? For example, do you realize Deshaun Watson is not even the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? Yet, every time somebody brings up Deshaun, I'm going to say everybody, a lot of the talking heads, when they bring up Deshaun Watson, they always throw up 230 mil along with his name. whether it's talking about his performance, who he is as a person, what he's doing with the Browns, whatever it is. Watch, and you'll see every time the talking head, especially on ESPN, mention Deshaun Watson, it's always bringing up the amount of his contract. So I went back and I did some research. He's not even the highest paid quarterback. He's not even top five paid quarterback when you talk about his contract. And the reason why I have a problem is because I see other quarterbacks that's on the list that's higher than Deshaun Watson that aren't as talented or haven't proven that they deserve that just yet. Bring up one, Herbert. Herbert is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Got blown out in his playoff game and got rewarded with the highest contract in the NFL. Yet when they talk about Herbert, you don't hear nothing about his contract. Not that if he don't make it to the playoff or he don't win a playoff game, do he deserve to have all that money? See, these are the phrases that they use when they talk about Deshaun Watson. If he don't get or they don't win 10 games or they don't get to the playoffs or the Super Bowl, is he worth the 230 mil? But me personally I think they only bring it up because of the accusations that have been brought against him. You see what I'm saying? So if you're talking sports, it shouldn't be hard to talk about one of the top, let's say 35, 32 uh, quarterbacks in the NFL because you have to be exceptional to be in that position. So I just find it more of them hating on Deshaun because of their bias or how they feel about him or what the story of his acquisitions. You understand? It's like instead of talking about him on the field because they had all yet last year to talk about all that. All last year. Every time you cut the TV on, talk about sports. That's all they talking about. He done paid his dues or paid, the civil court, civil whatever. Did that. But they continuously mention his contract, but not other quarterbacks. Crazy. And me, frankly, when they start doing that, I change the channel because I already know where they're coming from when they mention him. If they just described him, talk about look, he's having a bad camp, do some bad balls, but Brown's gonna need him to, get back or become a better version of Deshaun. I'm cool. I just like that young man. I could take criticism. He could take criticism. But I go deaf when I hear his contract continuously brought up if they're not going to do it for every other quarterback that they mention. You don't hear him talking about Aaron Rodgers' contract unless it's a contract year. Next one up, out of Cincinnati, we don't know what he's gonna do. Lamar, my feelings, they made sure that Lamar wasn't gonna get guaranteed. Not that amount. Now I'm not crying. Please don't get me wrong. I ain't crying. They signing some of these quarterbacks were signing for 125 mil guaranteed. Think I'm crying? That's just on one contract. A lot of them 5 years. They ball off for 5 years. Next contract gonna be even heftier. So don't get me wrong. I'm not crying, but I just want them to, or don't understand why when they talk about other quarterbacks, they don't bring up their contract, especially Herbert, who, me personally, I don't feel he deserved to be the highest paid quarterback. But once Deshaun got his, now if anyone know anything about how the NFL has been going, each year the quarterback got more money than the last quarterback that got signed. If Carr got 103, then you'll have someone like Tannehill come back and get 100 and 105 or X amount guaranteed. Did move on like that. But when Deshaun got his contract, and it was a boss move that the owner made. And the reason why I say it's a boss move, because in order to guarantee that much money, you have to move it from one account, put it in escrow. And a lot of the owners don't have that amount of cash sitting in escrow to sit there for 5 years on an investment. Boss move. But the rest of the NFL owners didn't want to do it, so they don't look favorably on not only Deshaun, but the Browns because of that move, not telling the whole story like it was other teams that was fighting for Deshaun's talent. Same time the Browns was. We won't talk about that. But the Browns did what they had to do, or they felt they was comfortable doing to get them a franchise quarterback. And regardless of how y'all feel, Deshaun is a franchise quarterback. I followed him in Clemson, um, even in Houston. I like watching him play. And this year, quiet kept because I heard him talking earlier. He said that they gave him the keys to the car, meaning that this is going to be the first quarterback since we came back. Well, since Bernie actually, that has the freedom to audible at the line if he sees something that would benefit the Browns or he's comfortable with. That's a big move, because last quarterbacks, uh, you might go into the huddle and call two plays. What if both of those plays are not beneficial for your offense? They didn't have the luxury to audible to another play to get them in a better position. A lot of the great quarterbacks have that that opportunity. They have that much power, or that much knowledge of the game, that the head coach will allow them to do such a thing. So that means all those that thought that Chubb wasn't going to get no run. Not only is he going to be running against lighter boxes, but when those lighter boxes are there, Deshaun Watson, being a student of the game, is going to know, oh man, I can run Chubb. I run Chubb. Let him eat. Then when they come out of that nickel or dime and they have to show their hand pretty much, now we go, let's throw the ball and vice versa. So it's gonna be it's gonna be fun to watch, especially since I heard they gave him the keys to the offense. It's gonna be some big plays. It's gonna be some long drives that we could do because we watched in the um, one of the preseason games, he has no problem getting out of the box. And it wasn't that he was running for his life, but if he felt pressure, he was able to get out, and it didn't look like it was natural. Like last year, it was like almost sometimes like he was running for his life, and the timing was off. This time, if it's man to man or the wide receiver running them off, Sean has the opportunity to go ahead and get on his horse and move the chains. So that's going to be good to see. And before I leave, I told you every week what I was going to try to do is try to highlight at least one player on the Browns. Um, Sometimes it's someone that showed out the preseason game or someone that I think our fans should know about. This one is this week's. Uh, but before we go there, make sure you like, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Dog Talk is on every Wednesday with yours truly, Mr. Bingo. Now, today's highlight player of the week is Mohammed Diabate. Um, the young man was, let's see, born May 18th, 2001. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. That's kind of unusual for um, the body type for a linebacker. I'm not saying that it can't be, but most linebackers are 6'1", 6'2", in that range. He do have at 225, 6'4", he's able to see gaps over the line, react. So it's good for him because he learned how to work it. He started his football career at Florida, was there for 3 years. Then he transferred his senior year, I believe, to Utah, where he played linebacker there. I'm wondering if that transformation or hitting that transfer portal um, did something to his stock and moved him out of being drafted because he went undrafted. He's an undrafted free agent this year, trying to make the Brown squad. Me personally, I believe he done did enough. And like I said, with the injuries to Phillip, you got Taki and AWOL coming off injuries. Um, this kid might be able to squeeze on there. I don't think he's going to make the practice squad. He's also a special teams player, so that'll help out a great deal. Good speed. Um, so he signed with the Browns as a free agent. He grew up in Auburn, Alabama, and he was all city in football. So, real talented young man. Wishing the best. I think he got a shot. If they're wise, they will go ahead and try to put him on the roster, get him on the roster, um, and then be one of them young kids or young players that, as the Browns move forward and we building through the draft and developing our own players, I could see him taking on more of a starting role. Maybe not next year. Maybe next year. Maybe if he really gets out there, get in the book, and do what he did last week. In the regular season when they put him in with the starters, that would speak volumes of this young man, um, his game and how he plays. His name, Muhammad Diobate. Keep an eye on him. He will be playing this week. I think he might get surrounded with the second team. Not sure with the first team, but with Swartz, you never know. He likes those hungry players. But keep an eye on him. I wish him the best. And I'd like to thank y'all for joining me, taking time out your day to watch Dawg Talk with yours truly, Mr. Bingo, brought to you by Browns of Columbus. Like, subscribe, and tell a friend. I will see y'all next week on Wednesday at 9 o'clock p.m. Oh, before I go, also check out the channel because I will be dropping some short videos during the week as the week progresses, leading up to games and so on. Or if I hear something, I just might drop some random thoughts. All right. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Check out Browns of Columbus on YouTube. This your man's Mr. Bingo. See y'all next week. Peace.